I'm Francesca Johnson, the recycling manager for the R Board. The R Board, City of Fredericksburg, and Stafford County partner with the Virginia Master Gardeners Association to offer backyard composting classes. We're here today with Jonathan Stevens, Master Gardener.
Composting is that natural process that we take advantage of every time we put our kitchen scraps out next to the garden and throw leaves on them and turn them and keep them wet, and it turns into magical material to augment the garden. Start in the kitchen, and instead of throwing everything into the garbage grinder or into the trash can, put it in a container on your counter and save it. This will be everything in the way of fruit rinds and things like that, and coffee grounds, even paper towels, if they're not loaded with grease, can be composted. Once we have a decent amount, we'll get it into that compost pile. It's all about the flow of material from the kitchen scraps and the yard waste into your compost pile. How fast that flows determines how often you need to tend it. And tending it really is just a matter of turning it to make sure that it doesn't develop pockets that have no air. When you turn it, you aerate it, so it develops what we call an aerobic process of decomposition, which is very sweet and bright. The anaerobic process, where you don't get enough air, is what can make a compost pile stinky. It's important in your compost pile to have a decent mix, practically 50-50 if you can achieve it, of the greens and browns. Green material, which is the stuff that's hotter, higher in nitrogen, it helps the compost pile get warm and be friendly to the microbes. That would be coffee grounds, vegetable scraps, and combine that with brown material, and that could be chopped leaves. You can use straw. You can even have a tear-up-a-thon and tear up all the old cardboard, the brown cardboard that you have, and make that your brown. More greens than 50%, and your compost bin can get too green and start to smell. So I would say whenever you put some of that green material in your compost, cover it with some brown material and try to maintain that 50-50 mix. When the greens and browns are together with air and moisture, miracles happen, and that's exactly what happens on the forest floor. You want to keep it damp. In the compost bin, it's important to check it periodically and add water as necessary. Rain often is a great source, so leave it open to the rain, but just make sure it doesn't get too wet, thus closing off the access of the air. Once you can barely recognize the components in it, if you just hold it in your hands and look, and maybe you'll see a little bit of torn up leaf or something else, and the rest is just this black crumbly stuff which you know your plants are going to love. That's when it's ready. You can use it on your gardens. You can make compost tea out of it and use it on your house plants. So there are any number of uses for a compost. It's as easy as pie. And as long as you keep a balance of those four elements, greens and browns, air and moisture, and turn it from time to time, that stuff is black gold. Let's do it, and let's make this a healthier planet.